Alright, I hope this to be the last video of this non-side-by-side. We've seen the good, we've definitely seen the bad, and I'd like to show some other things. So, let's see how long it stays good and how quickly it goes bad. And, with the strategy, normally when I'd play in real life, I would win big first, like I said, and then I would just try with the small stuff after that, mitigating any chance of failure thereafter. But the problem is, what happens when it fails right away? Fails right away, well then you're down 3. So, that can always happen. You can also miss out on a chop right off the rip because you're waiting for the stupid shit to happen, right? Look at this, 6 in a row. That'll happen, But by waiting for this, you're committing to one moment in time, not every time, So now it's more impactful, win or lose, because you're willing to sit out so many hands of chances of losing. You don't want to be betting 80 hands in a row anyways. And it's going to work or it isn't. Unfortunately, it worked. Natural 9. Now, this is a good example. This is a shoe that's conducive to Sorry, I had to pause it a minute. I was trying to ask my wife to go to breakfast, but she apparently had cereal already, so I guess we're not going to breakfast. So, I'll invest in my audience. We won. So, what was I saying? Yeah, we have a nice choppy start. I don't have a whole lot of threat here that it's going to start coming down side by side. And it could start coming down side by side at any point. But a shoe like this, where it's shown no proclivity to trying to do that at all, I feel like it's a shoe that we can try to make work for the long term. Especially since I missed out on all those direct chops. But what will bother me here is that I'll play for this scenario, and it'll keep chopping. The second I try to make them not chop side by side, or to continue to chop side by side at a 1-2, that's where I could get upset. Sorry about all this. I don't know what my phone's trying to do. Phone's doing a lot of weird things lately. Okay, well, the chop's over. We're just waiting for a color change to bet against the color change. And there it is. So we're going to try again. And we won. And we won with the natural again. Interesting. So we wait. And I think what I'm going to endorse on this is just look at the long view of everything. And even if the bet calls for a bet, ask if it makes sense based on the evidence. For example, if the bet's going to call for me to bet on player, which it will next time, do I even go for a second effort? We're already up 2 units, first of all. I could reduce. Because player's the weak side right now. Banks managed to come down, player hasn't. I will be more confident betting on player if this goes 3 or more. When it finally does. Oh, good, it went 3. So I feel better about it now. It doesn't mean anything, but it makes me feel better because at this point, player had never come down. Now it has. So when I get the color change, I'm going to be more willing to bet for player. We have never had 2 runs side by side yet. This could be the first. We don't know. But if this continues, we just extract money. So until that changes, this is live. And we win. And no commission, which is fun. So that's 3 in a row we've won. On the same shoe. And the other video, we've shown you how hard it is to even get 1 in a shoe, let alone 3. And playing with the oh, there's 2 again. Playing with the strategy, the second it fails back to back, you're giving all 3 of those away. So I would say, if you get up to 3, I would say if you get up to 2, but if you get up to 3, you most certainly need to reduce it to the little stuff and just see how much that'll get you. Because at least then, if you're giving the little stuff on a 1-2, you're still keeping 2 of that unit of 5, breaking it down into 5. If you're willing to do it on a 1-2, and it does in fact lose back to back, you're still going to keep 2 of those of that third unit. You follow? So you'd have 2 whole units, plus you'd have 2 pieces of your third unit remaining. And that's still cool. Don't undercut yourself about how cool that is. See, we reduced at the perfect time. Now, instead of giving away a full perp, we actually only gave a piece. A 1/5 piece back. That's very good. And look what you still have. You have over 2.5 units still. That's amazing. You could say, fuck it, I'm done. I'm not going to try and make it not go 3 across. But I will. Because that's what I do here. And I'll be willing to leave with the difference. And it's gonna feel like no matter what strategy you're using, you're feeling like you're always leaving on a loss. But if the loss is minimized because you've reduced it to a 1/5 of a unit, you don't give a fuck because you already beat them, and you already know inside there's no way you can't leave a winner because you've already gotten 2 real ones to the good, and you lost a miniature one to the bad. And the worst that can happen now is you lose 2 miniature ones. You still keep the rest of that third unit, 2 pieces of it, as it were, plus 2 full units. And no matter what happens on my next wager, I could leave with over a G, and I'd be happy with that every day of my life. Make 30 grand in a month. I'd be happy with that every fucking day of my life. And it doesn't have to happen all at once on one shoe. But if it did, I'd be happy. I'd be happy with half that much a day. Make 15 grand a month. And that could be any dollar amount. It doesn't have to be that high either. There's a lot you can do with an extra 200 a day. If you think how hard it is to make 200 in a day or to shift, people work a lot harder at their jobs or second jobs for whatever money for a shift. It doesn't scratch what we're able to do here. Right? So why put yourself through the anguish of giving it back? You simply reduce, and you do it like this. You have to reduce at some point. And you can't worry, oh, if I would have left it all out there, I would have made so much more money. Clip that. For real. Because you will give more back than you will retain. Okay? Over time. Nothing's going to work forever. Nothing does. It feels like it does sometimes. It does. But watch what happens here. I lost, see? Good, I'm glad it lost. But because I reduced it, what happened? Fuck off. Because I reduced it, I won 2 to the good first, right? And then I was fortunate enough to win a third one, which was a little aggressive. Nothing's going to work forever kind of thing. But I did win it. Right? Look at the past. 1 win, 2 win, 3 win. Now, when I got to the 4th one, I'm like, do I really want to give all 3 of those back? Fuck no. So I reduced the little unit, and if it lost twice, I'm only giving 3 of the little pieces of 5 away. And that way I still retain the other 2 full units, and I have what remains of this, which should be closer to 1,200, except we paid commission, right, on one of those. So that cost us the extra $25. But that's okay, because I would walk away every day with 1175 and feel just fine. And like I said, I have my calculator today. I'm more prepared to show you. Times 30 days, you'd have $35,000 just settling for that in 1 month. 1 month. Those of you who have followed me long enough know what I've done in 40 days. So I ask you, how hyperbolic is that if I'm able to do that every day? No, that's only 35 grand in 30 days, but I would take that all day, every day of my life, bro. Do that for 2 months straight. Sorry. Some things are just lost on my wife. So 2 months of that would be 70,500. Sick, right? Fucking sick. How does your life change then? And how did we get there? How did we get there? Well, first we had to have the confidence. And I would say you need that kind of bankroll to start at that level. But let's say you didn't, and you started at this level. Same thing, except you're using these. Oops. I'd say you'd have, well, I think this is maybe a better number to start with, because then you can divide it into 40 units of 125, right? Yeah. And that would then allow you to split that into 5 units of 25 once you win a couple criticals. And by such, you could then turn this total into 5 times less for your take for the day, which would be that, which would be nothing wrong with that. And then you would have times 30 days, that much. Follow? So if you did that for 3 months, you'd have that. Oh, look, what's that? That's exactly what we need to divide by 40 units to be able to have that. And some waitress money to have this, right? Divided by 40. To have this times, I did this kind of backwards, but you get what I'm saying. So it can be done. You can get to that level very quickly, but you have to start with the little stuff first. And you have to humble yourself that that's good enough. And understand if you're able to get out with, that much every day, it might not seem a lot at first, but if you're able to just do that every day, I mean, shit. I do DoorDash and shit. If I was able to double my income every day just by getting that every day and walking out with it the second I got it every day, I'd effectively be doubling my income. Doubling my income. Still pay my bills with my income, but then use this as the catalyst to build more for this every day. Now, that takes time. You got to find time in your day to do that. That's the other thing. But I'm just saying nothing's impossible. So, you have a bad shoe, let's say. Well, it didn't work. Well, you don't have all time to sit there. You have to go back later in the day, maybe, if it's nearby. But we won this shoe, so that is $11.75. Let me write that down. $11.75 plus. Now we wait for the next shoe. And of course, we know this isn't always going to work, right? So, where it doesn't work right away, that's where the work begins, obviously. It's not always going to work the first try. But I'll tell you what, if it does work on the first 1-2 effort, you've already won. There's nothing they can do if you choose not to try again and you just reduce. You walk with something, right? So, my target number is 2, usually. But there's times it's hard to even get it over 1 with this strategy. And this is just one of many strategies, but it's a pretty good one. In its own merit. I know on this app I've had runs where it just never works on the first try. It's like, what the fuck? Are we ever going to fix this? And I don't have time in a video to necessarily go through what it's going to take to fix it. But you don't want to increase. You don't want to increase to chase. The second you're chasing and the second you fail chasing, you're exponentially increasing how long it's going to take to fix it. Wow, it's a long bag to start this shoe, huh? Fuck. Still long bag. Touch the bottom. Look at this. Okay, player. Alright, so, you know what we're going to do here. We'll try this. And it won. Player zeroed out, and banker pulled out the 9, and it's a 30-1 in real life. Wow. First bet of the shoe, if you were betting bonus with it, you would have a 30-1. You'd be going home happy. You wouldn't need to play any other hands. But anyway, we got that one. So we wait. Oh, 0-0 tie. Wow. All right, it chopped again. Oh, so that doesn't count. Not in this series. It doesn't count. That counts though. That's 2. So as soon as it goes bank, we try again. Now this one's scary because player might be the weak side, but it is choppy. The last 4 cards so it's good enough to try. Double check. Yes, player, and we win. So there's 2 units. I'm not going for 3 this time, guys. Last year I did, but I'm just going to reduce to the black chip now, and I'll show you, the 1/5 unit. And like I said, this doesn't have to be a purple and a black. This could be 125 and 25. Just reduce to a 1/5 unit, and you just proceed from there. No matter what happens on my next 2 bets that I actually make here, I'm walking with the difference here, and they can't take it from me, and they know they can't. If I maintain the same level of play the rest of my life, the only thing they can hope for is I don't win on my first 2 betting opportunities. Because if I do, they can't catch me the rest of my life. The rest of my fucking life. So here you go, 1/5 unit. We still have 2 full units. We're breaking one of those 2 full units down into 5 pieces, and we just see what we can do to them. If it works, great. More cream on top. Tie, 2-2. We got lucky. We should have lost that. We're going to try again. Yeah, we lost. So good. We lost with the little stuff. I mean, it's never good. I want to win the rest of my life, but that's, you're going to win and you're going to lose, right? There's nothing you can do. And the only thing you can do is mitigate prior successes losing completely by reducing. You have to reduce sometimes. And this is where you do it. Okay? You already won for the day. You have that objective achieved. You could just leave with the 2. You don't have to stay there. But this verifies why you don't want to try too hard. Because there's nothing more frustrating than putting 2 big boy units out there, winning them, and then just giving them right back plus another on a 1-2 effort. So better to reduce and live to see another day, guys. You got money. That's the bottom line. No matter what I do here is well more than I'm ever going to do at a job. And that's just the truth. So hopefully this wins and buys us another chance with the black chips. If it doesn't, I'm okay with it. I win. So I won another black chip. So that's now insulated part of this damage with the black chips now in the event it loses. In fact, I could say I could just leave right now and the commission's paid for, so is the commission for next shoe. It's an extra $65. But we wait. Like, stop win goal could come into play here, even with the little stuff. You don't want to give away 3 black chips for no reason when you could have kept the purple in there and you would have won, sure, but you could have gave it all back. So trust me, you could give it all back. So we're going to stay reduced to this level, and we're just going to see what these do for us. If they win, great. No one's going to turn away a few extra tanks of gas, right? So we're going to see. Okay, natural 9, didn't work. So we got to wait for a color change. Got another chance of note. This could be a 2-2-2-2 here. But this is the last try for this shoe. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You can do one of 2 things. Since you already won 100 the last time, you could flat bet this one. And if it doesn't work on the second effort, then all you're really losing for these hands is 1 chip, right? Because you won one last time. You just gave that one back. Now if you win, you get the one you won the first time back. And you still have the 2 crits. That's amazing. So I wrestle with this because that is 5 out of 7 there on the come down. And it is a 2-2, which I feel is the most perilous of come downs. I feel like it's more likely to come down side by side when they're pairing off like that. But I'm going to do 2 here for posterity's sake. And I'm prepared for it to lose, If it loses, I'm still going to have 765. And I'm going to add that to my total. And I was right to be afraid. It lost terribly. I had a 0. So, you see what I mean? I wanted to point that out, though. Okay? So, let's go to the calculator. We'll add that to the total. 765. We're at 1940 in 2 shoes. 1940. Okay. 19 motherfucking 40. So, we're going to go to a new shoe. We played 2 shoes. The entire day, we played 2 shoes. And these could have been 2 separate days, like I said before. This could have been one day I did this, one day I did that. One day I made this much, one day I made that much. You know what I mean? It doesn't all have to be sunshine and rainbows, you know. You could lose right away doing this strategy, and it most certainly will at some point. It will. And you have to be prepared for that mentally. It's just a point in time where that's going to happen, and you can't chase it. I'm trying to see if I can find one. You know. But I had a string the other video where we went 13 days in a row where this worked every single time, right? 13 days in a row? Fucking crazy. Anyway, we're going to try this again. Tie. 7. Good, we won. 7 over 3. So we wait for another opportunity bet. We try again. I don't care that it's choppy chop. I mean, I care a little. I love chops. But I'm just going to watch it happen for the interest of this single solitary strategy. So there's our second bank. Need a player. That's a third bank. There's our player. So we're going to try one more time for bank. And that'll be our second unit. And we can reduce. So hopefully we get to reduce. We win. 7 over 3. So we get to reduce again. Isn't this fun? So now we just wait. And it's glorious. The second you win 2 to the good of that magnitude, you know there's no way you can lose. There's no way you can lose because you're reducing to a 1/5 unit. And as long as you win that, you've completely mitigated loss because you're willing to bet small now. And you don't care that it could have been more because you know no matter what, you're going home today with the victory. That's all that fucking matters. I can't wait to start beating their ass. I can't wait, guys. I'm going to show you the motherfucking results. I'm going to bring the chips home every day because I'm not going to cash them out. I'm going to wait till I have enough to cash out a strap and be like, it's cash out day. We're going to the bank today. That's what's going to happen. Because that's what used to happen, guys. And I know I can do it, except I did it much more aggressively before. And I don't have to. I don't. I've got a multitude of good ways to play this fucking game. And they're all scared of me. That's why they pushed me off for a year. They fucking know what I am. So I have to go in there and just fucking not be teaching people in live settings anymore. I think that's where I went wrong. I would show people what was wrong and how to exploit that. And I don't think they liked that. I don't think they liked me helping duplicate myself. I think that's why I got pushed off. That's what I believe. Fuck their excuses why. Stupid host or whatever else. Sorry, I had a moment. I'm sorry. Look at all these single players, first of all. And in doing so, I almost bet the perp again because it's so beautiful. But I have to reduce, right? I've got the 2 units. So even though I think this is totally going to be bank, I'm going to reduce to the little guy and just take it. And I lost. So whatever, fuck them. So I got to wait now. I got to wait for a color change. This might be where it finally goes 3 in a row on the second. Let's find out. I'm going to do 2 black chips. And if not, I'll take the little stuff. It's fine. I'm still going to have over 5. Hopefully this works. It worked! 6 over 0. 4 to 1 bonus even. So, yeah, we're still alive on this shoe. We wait for another come down. Isn't this fun? Isn't this fun? Just looking them in the eye, be like, you can't fucking touch me at this point. It's the 3rd day in a row I've done this to you. You can't touch me. Can't touch me. I turned a few $100s into 11,000 in a week, and they pushed me off. And I've been gone ever since. It took some parlays, I ain't gonna lie. But I got it up there. I got myself a catalyst that I was able to flatbed at one point. And once I was able to flatbed, it was on. You know what I mean? Once you got it up to a level where, okay, we got something to work here. Tell you what, they regretted giving me free plays. um, so, we're going to... I almost went with the perp again. I gotta stay reduced. Look at this little miniature chop we got going here. 2-1-1-1-2-1. It's just like the way the shoe started, except 1-2-1-1-1, and then it came down 3. So, I don't know what she's sending me, but she's gonna have to wait. She already turned me down, so I'm just going to focus on finishing this video. We're at 26 minutes. I feel like I've done enough here to make a point. You know, I'd like to show you the bad too, but I think I've shown enough of the bad instances and what you got to do with that. If you focus on the good, the bad don't matter. And we're going to try to win one little guy right here. You know, you don't chase at all. You don't chase in gambling. You don't chase in real life, guys. If things aren't meant to happen that day, then you just don't do it. You just focus on other things, you know. I'm focusing on you. So we're going to get a second player here. Okay, maybe we'll get a second banker here, and then we'll try again. Just waiting for seconds to happen to bet against the opposite. Look at all these chops. See, it was a chop run. I was right. Look at this. Okay, finally got 2 to come down. But look at that. How wide is that if you were betting the chop? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times in a row. If this chops, it'll be 11 times it didn't go 3. That's a lot. But we weren't playing for that. So let's see if it chops. No, it didn't. That's fine. We're just waiting for a chop anyway. But that was incredible. 10 times. 10 times without it going 3. Almost got to 11. Okay. So we're going to bet the little guy on bank. And we win again. How long do you want to take this out? First of all, this is how many times we've won. On a 1-2 effort. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if those were all per chips, we'd have 2,500. But I'm not willing to be that selfish. I've seen enough times how selfishness hurts us. So, I don't want to be selfish. I know I don't have to be. I know even if I only won the first one and reduced, I'm still winning right now. Right? The very first one, we're 1-2-1, and I bet the opposite and I won. I could have immediately started reducing with every opportunity bet after that, and I still would have made another 1, 2, 3, 400. Right? I'd still have 900. Just being careful. Instead, I have 1,300. But you know what? I'll take this. So, I'm getting hungry. She doesn't want to go to breakfast. I'll take my own damn self to breakfast. I'm cool. So, we got to wait for another opportunity bet here. We just won on that banker. Okay. It's gonna be a little while before I do more videos after today, guys. I gotta work my ass off. I've had a lot of time off this month, let alone this week. Between everything that happened to my car and just being ill, I'm just losing an ass load of time. Now it's gonna be Thanksgiving. So that lost. I got one more try though. And it'll be funny if it loses on the 2-2-2 again, right? Because this is what could happen again. That's the way it lost the last time. We had 2 pairs, and here we are again. This will be 3 2-2s. But let's try anyway here. We're at 2 unbanked. and we win 3/0. How long you want to take it out? I'll tell you what, I mean, I don't even want to give the little stuff back anymore, right? I'm doing so well, but shoes like this don't come along as often as I'd like either. So I don't want to just, not play for it. So the only thing I could do is play small. I could flat bet on a 1-1 black chip, and that way I keep some of this extra profit I made off the little stuff, you know. But it's to say it either has to win the first time or I don't win at all. The most I do is push, right? But better than giving away three, right? So we're gonna see if we can win. Oh, we got a natural, so yeah, we win the first try. Outside of commission, we have 1,500 right here. Betting the little stuff. Betting the little stuff. At 1460. It's fascinating, right? If every shoe could operate that way. Now, this is a hell of a choppy shoe. That's part of the reason this is working. Nothing's coming down. In fact, it's only come down three times. And look at that. Every time it did was on bank. If you were just betting player never to go three, you were doing it all right. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 occurrences of that. If you were just waiting for player and betting against it every hand for 2 hands, you were 100% never lost that way either. And you would have had a lot more opportunity bets. You would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I don't mean to get sidetracked, but that's incredulous. 14 times you didn't lose on a 1-2 effort? Fascinating. 14 units is a lot of fucking units, guys. Anyway, we're waiting for a player to come out so we can bet against it again because now bank came down. There's a natural player, so here we go. I try one little guy on bank. If it doesn't work, no, double natural. This might be where it ends. When all the player naturals start coming out, right? It might be. But you know what? Fuck them. We're going to get this over 15. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work, man. Something's got to not work eventually. It didn't work. So I was right to be concerned. And I could have flat bet the one, but I was willing to attack because I already destroyed them. I got 1160 still. That's good. I'm going to add that to the total. So for 3 shoes combined is 1160. And it could have been 1260, but I chose to be that way. 1160 still cool. We add the 3 shoes together. We got 3,100 exactly. It's funny how that worked out evenly. But with 3,100 exactly. So you can see this works. It doesn't have to be with chips of this magnitude. Like I said, I'm going to clear this out. It could be with these, right? Oops. Sorry. It could be with these. You start with 125s. You get 2 of those, right? You got 250, right? Mm-hmm. So then you switch it to these, and you do these one at a time, right? If you win one, plus 20, 225, you have that. You win another one, you have that. You have to decide how many little $25 units you want to get to add to the pile. But if it loses, and then it loses 2, well, you're back to your initial again. Because you're losing 50, actually. Let me subtract that. If you lose the first one, right? You gave back the one you just had, then you go for the second shot. Now you're into your original profit, right? So you'd still leave with 200 for the day, which is just fine. But you got to clip it at that. You can't give away any more. You can't needle yourself to death because commission's going to needle you anyway over time. So you don't want to give away more than one instance of a 1-2 on one shoe, right? Whether it's the big or the little. So that's still good. Fuck. Average that a day times 60 days, you got 12,000. Just getting 200 a day. Just not being a cunt. Just saying that's good enough. All right, guys, it's 35 minutes. Love yous. Have a good day. I'm going to start a new series on a different topic um, next video. And it's probably going to be the come down side by side, which takes longer to find. As you can see, we could have shoes like this where it never happens. So I don't know how long that series is going to be. It's going to probably be shorter than this one because I don't want to spend that much time equity. I might have to pause the video until I see one come out and then unpause it just to show you it to save time. You know? All right.